Hey everybody, I'm here at one of my customers in North Baltimore City, and I know this property is not going to feel like we're in Baltimore City, but indeed we are. And it's just such a beautiful property, and it's such a beautiful day. I thought I would go ahead and strap my head cam on and I would record a little bit of me in my work environment. This is what I do for a living, and if anybody's ever wondered, now you'll get to see what I actually do. I spray deer repellent on people's landscape plants and flower gardens, and we're going to get to see some really nice pretty flowers today. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. All right, we are going to start in this bed with the oak leaf hydrangea, and it looks really good. So far so good this year. This is one of my properties that is under a lot of pressure, and so you never really know what you're gonna find from month to month when I get here. And as early as it is in the season, last month when I was here, all that greenery and all this nice lush growth wasn't even there, so it was not covered, and therefore it may have received some damage in the last month. The way my repellent works is just by taste, and so I pretty much have to spray any leaf that I don't want the deer to eat. So again, if the plant simply isn't there, I can't spray it. And last month, again, all these hydrangeas, all these hostas, they weren't even here. So I was really expecting to see a fair amount of damage. This is sort of a tricky time of year for me. And so far, so good. Even back here, the hydrangeas look okay. I want to say this is called woodland parsley, but I'm not 100% sure about that. More hydrangeas. We have some coral bells down here that need to be sprayed. Nice beautiful tulip came up. So the deer generally won't come up this close to the house, and I believe that was because they had a dog, but unfortunately it was an old dog and it is no longer with us. So I just want to make sure I've got all this stuff that's closer to the house covered as well. More of that woodland parsley or whatever it is. All these are still hydrangeas. And I'm really happy with what we're seeing. This is also a hydrangea. This is a climbing hydrangea. And you can see it has climbed quite a bit. This is a very well-established property. All right, now we need to make our way down into the yard. Over the winter, I have to spray all of these azaleas, and you can see that my spraying pays off. They look fantastic this year. So this time of year, we got to worry mostly about the hostas and daylilies on this property. They have a lot of both. These are all hostas through here. I don't know what these plants are, but they don't get eaten. None of this stuff gets bothered. None of this stuff gets bothered. These were big bushes last year. These cut these way back, so I don't know what to make of that. So that is everything in that bed. Again, I normally have to spray all these azaleas in the winter. Now these azaleas along this side, I don't spray. This property just has so much, it would cost her a fortune if I sprayed everything, and so some things get left out. And you can see the difference between these hydrangeas, I keep saying hydrangeas, azaleas, difference between these azaleas that I don't spray and the azaleas that I do spray. So down here, you can also tell I don't spray any of this yew bush. You can see all that under there, that's all deer damage. Now this is all daylilies that need to get sprayed. The deer will actually come and bed down and lay on these daylilies and squash them down, even if they don't eat them. Now, interestingly, I don't spray that azalea either, but it looks fantastic. It's got really, really tiny little flowers on it. It's really neat looking. This is probably the best part of my job, is I get to just enjoy this sort of stuff all day long. Those are really, really small flowers on that azalea. That is really interesting. What a beauty. So we don't spray anything up this way either. Those steps lead on up into the driveway eventually, and you can see a little bit of stuff up there, but I don't spray any of that. We come down here, we have lots of daylily down here, and this usually gets damaged pretty bad down here. In fact, what was I just saying about the deer coming in here and bedding down? You see this big squashed area, you see this big flat squashed area here, and there's another big squashed area out there. That's deer literally bedding down and sleeping on this. So we need to get all this sprayed. And before I spray any of this stuff out here, I've got to go back there, so we'll keep this dry in the meantime, because I got to walk back through it. Right, a little bit back here. Now we make our way around this way to get out of here. And now I can come back and spray this stuff. And so far I am really, really happy with what I'm seeing. Again, none of this was up last month. This has all come up in the last month. So when I was here, there was just nothing here to spray, and so none of this has been protected yet this year. And I was really expecting to see a lot of this stuff just already down to the ground, and so far I've not seen any damage at all. I'm really, really happy with that. Surprisingly happy with that. All right, nothing over that way. Believe it or not, there's nothing in this whole center bed. Oh wow, that is an early peony. Look at how beautiful that is. Look at the red. Wow, that is going to be amazing. I'm going to miss it, of course. It'll be gone when I come back next month, but that is awesome. So all these are peonies. Peonies rarely ever get damaged by deer. These look like tree peonies almost. I'm not sure what these are, so let's go ahead and spray them just to be on the safe side. Oh, this is whatever that is, so we don't have to worry about that either. Anyway, that red one down there, that was a looker. That was awesome. All right, don't really have anything to spray down here. This time of year, I do have to come down here and spray in the winter, but I just wanted to have a look. Again, this is an azalea I spray, and while it did get some damage, it still looks really, really good. Here's another one that looks amazing. Really happy with the way these have turned out. All right, we had a good winter. Oh, that's kind of sad. The dog's ball is still down here, even though the dog is long since gone. Lovely, lovely, loving it. Ooh, this is a really pretty azalea too. Here's another one with the little teeny tiny flowers on it. These are big poofy pom-pom like flowers. Alright, got a couple of coral bells. These are new. Always got to keep your eye out, make sure the customer didn't plant anything new without telling me, which they did apparently. Although I got to say, this customer has people that do that stuff for them. I can't imagine them actually out here doing a whole lot of the gardening themselves. Wow, these are just amazing, beautiful. All right, now we need to go and spray, continue picking up around the front, but we're going to take a little detour through the rhododendron grove. So these are all old rhododendrons through here, and these are really old yew bushes. We have a, well, I say bushes, they're more like trees. We have an enormous yew out front that we're going to look at once we get around there. But I always like coming back here. I feel like I'm walking around in the woods. And again, we're in Baltimore City right now. If I'm lucky enough to get here while these are in flower. Oops, sorry about that. It's absolutely stunning through here when everything's in flower. All right. So that is the climbing hydrangea we left off on. We're going to pick up on this climbing hydrangea. Careful not to spray the windows. I don't know what this bush is called, but I know the deer nibble on it. So we get this whole corner. Got some hosta over here. Another one of those bushes. I think these are hydrangeas. I think they're woody hydrangeas. They're a different type than the soft hydrangeas, the herbaceous variety. So again, all these hostas, azaleas, I spray all this in the winter. I make sure all this stays looking good. And wow, we really did have a good, successful run this winter. There's some areas where I do get damage. There's just nothing I can do about it. And this area back here is what I think of as their problem corner. This bush is an evergreen euonymus, and the deer absolutely love it year round, and so I struggle to keep the deer from eating this. And the problem is they move along this line of the property, along the woods between the two houses, and they come up and they come right over the fence. This is their highway. And so the fact that they're moving through here on a regular basis, all it takes is a nibble here and a nibble there, and before you know it, by the end of the month, you've got a lot of damage. And most certainly by the end of a year, you've got a lot of damage that just sort of accumulates, even if it's a little bit at a time. This is usually full of water and has lots of frogs and squiggly things in there, but it seems to be dried out today. Even these little scraggly, hanging on for dear life azaleas look pretty good this year. So again, we did pretty good. Not gonna complain. So that was the backyard. Now we gotta spray everything out front. Now in the winter time, this property takes me at least 2 backpack sprayers full, but today we're going to see if we can get it done in one, since it's this time of year. This massive tree, as huge as this thing is a yew bush, or a yew tree. It's just incredible. Look at the size of this trunk down here. That one's pretty impressive. I actually never noticed the way that has grown over the fence like that. That really That tells you how long that fence has been there. Wow, I never even noticed that before. But this yew is just incredible. It's huge. So, all right, anyway, continuing on. Got plenty left to do here before we're done. This is my largest property. This is another azalea. This doesn't look terrible considering it's not fully blooming yet. It's just a little bit early for it, but it has a lot of flowers on it. And this is, again, the problem corner. I get a lot of damage on this azalea throughout the year. I know it might be a little difficult for you to see them, but there's a lot of astilbe all over the ground through here. And I know where they are and I can see them clearly enough. Make sure we get all those sprayed. I think there's a few more back here. There's one. This is a hydrangea. And that looks like all of them. All right. Do not know what this bush is, but they keep it covered in mesh all the time, so I'm assuming it's something they want protected, so I spray it just to be safe. More hydrangeas. All right. Now typically I would spray all of this ground cover. This is liriope, but this property already has so much for me to spray that, again, it just wouldn't be cost effective to spray everything. So this liriope gets left alone. The azaleas look fantastic. Really happy with them. So far, this liriope looks good. No damage, no early damage on it anyway. More azaleas that look incredible, fantastic, awesome. All right, nothing really to spray over here. We actually don't have a ton to spray out front in the summertime. It is the winter where, again, all these azaleas that I have to spray just takes up a lot of time and a lot of my repellent. So again, none of this stuff is anything I need to worry about this time of year. Looking beautiful. Rhododendrons. Rhododendrons and azaleas are very closely related. Sorry about that. So likewise, the rhododendrons are a winter plant, not a summer plant. Now these azaleas, I do make an exception. Last summer they planted, or had planted, a bunch of very small azalea bushes, and for some reason, even throughout the summer, we're getting damage on them, and a lot of them were damaged so badly they died off. And so I always spray these. It's not much. Doesn't cost me a whole lot extra just to do these extra little winter plants, even though it's summertime. And if it keeps the customer happy, that's the main goal. Again, little azaleas, little scraggly azaleas. These have been hanging on for years. And again, we're getting flowers on them now when we never used to when I started spraying here years ago. So we have come a long way. We have brought a lot of these little tiny, you know, again, these little scraggly little azaleas that were barely hanging on to life, like these. Some of these in here, we're actually seeing flowers and stuff on them now. This one looks beautiful. These are still a little scraggly, but they are hanging on and looking good. Oh, that big display in the middle looks absolutely gorgeous. So we are coming around the bend. I think we're going to get this all done in one go today. Winter plants, all these are winter plants, don't have to worry about them. But over here, this is an Akuba, and it's an evergreen. And despite my best efforts last winter, the deer just absolutely devastated all of this Akuba. Now it'll grow back, but it's still just discouraging. And you can see how it's just stripped all the way down. You can see my truck right through the foliage. This used to be almost like a secure, almost like a kid would make a fort back here. It was so sort of secluded. In fact, a lot of times the deer were bedding down back here. When you got them bedding down in an area where they've got absolutely delicious food, there's only so much I can do. Because remember, my repellent is not toxic or harmful. or anything like that. There's nothing physically deterring the deer from eating this. It's just made out of ingredients that taste really bad to a deer, and so they don't eat it because it tastes gross. It's got a lot of pepper in it, it's got a lot of bitter flavor in it, it's got proteins in there that they wouldn't normally eat, fish oil, cloves, it's got all kind of stuff like that. And very last thing we got to do is spray this little row of liriope under here, just because it's right on the driveway and I always like to get that sprayed. So we are done, and I am gonna say, once I get my, there we go, I'm gonna say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and remember, there is nothing about my repellent that is toxic or harmful in any way to the animals. It simply tastes bad, and the point I'm getting to is that there's only so much you can do when the animals are really hungry. When there's too many animals and not enough food, think about if you were starving, you would eat stuff that didn't taste very good too, if that's what you needed to do to survive. And so when the deer pressure gets to be so much, again, there's only so much I can do by spraying my repellent, because there's nothing physically harmful or toxic or anything like that to harm the deer. So, you know, it's not magic, but it does work pretty well, as evidenced by all these beautiful azaleas we've got everywhere today. Really happy with the way today looks, and I'm really happy you joined me for this trip around the yard. So thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.